Yes, I am here with the educative herself, Miss Paris Pratt, instructional coach, curriculum writer, advocate, lover of all things cheer, and last but not least, Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.
So excited to have you on this podcast tonight, Paris. We are doing our Women's Wednesday segment for March Women's History Month. And we are celebrating the upcoming Brown Girls Brunch. And you, of course, have been nominated as Teacher of the Year.
Exciting.
How does that feel?
I mean, it's exciting. It is an honor for my peers to nominate me and select me. I feel like that's the highest honor. So I'm so grateful. Thank you so much.
So grateful that you were like, girl, yes, I will be a part of this. So Paris, you and I share a lot of commonalities, from education to being mothers of brown girls to having separate passions outside of education, which both happen to be hair. But you equally have another passion, which is cheer. And what I would like to know is, how did you intersect cheer in education?
Yeah, so first of all, cheer has always been something that I've been passionate about. I was naturally good at it. Before I entered middle school, I was cheering for Pop Warner. It was the McLeansville Sports Association. And so then I got to middle school and I tried out for cheerleading and I did not make it the first year. I tried out for basketball, made that with no problem. And the next year I came back and I was like, hey, I want to try out for cheer. My basketball coach was a little upset. Shout out to Dr. Richmond. But I made the cheer team. And I think it was because I was just more focused and I didn't care about what anybody thought. When I tried out that time, I tried out and I made it, and I've been cheering ever since. I've cheered throughout high school, cheered in college. And so I just remember my coaches being the pillar, my coaches being that person that I really looked up to, somebody who could tell me something, that could give me that constructive criticism. And I took it and I was like, no, this is what I need to do to get better. And it could be in all aspects of my life. Like I could apply any of those lessons that they taught me to every aspect of my life. And so I decided to coach cheerleading about 13 years ago. I started coaching cheerleading. And so here I am 13 years later. I've coached at the high school level, the middle school level. I have volunteered at the recreation level, and I'm now currently a cheer mom. But what I love the most is being that cheer coach who is also an educator at the school that I coach for. And so I'm able to help my students throughout the day and after school. So I see them, they're able to come to me with any issues that they have, whether it's advocating for themselves, saying, hey, I'm struggling in this subject, I need your help. Or, Miss Pratt, I got a problem. This girl and we have an issue. I'm able to be that mentor. I'm able to see them excel in something else other than academics, and also help them reach their academic goals. So to me, cheerleading is a sport that is very much interconnected. You learn a lot. You learn how to problem solve. You learn how to work with others. You learn how to be a part of a team. And I just feel like those core components of being a part of something like cheerleading definitely translates into the classroom and translates into students' academic and career as far as their future.
I loved a lot of what you said, and I loved a lot about like how you explained your role. Excuse me. One thing about us is, especially as brown women, we have a way of connecting with our students that make them feel comfortable and open to come to us with the homework and the problems. And I want to know, like, for me as a mentor, I sometimes have to find balance, but I equally keep my favorite teachers and dance coaches in the back of my mind when I'm giving my students advice. How do you see the full circle moment sometimes of like young Paris and her students, and what Paris's teacher would tell young Paris?
Yeah, for sure. Your question actually takes me back to a time when I was a cheerleader at the great James Benson Dudley High School.
Mm.
My cheerleading coaches were definitely, they definitely had high standards. But they also, when they saw a need, when they saw potential, they tapped into it. They definitely pushed. And so my full circle moments are, for example, I have a cheerleader who I taught her in the 6th grade when she was in the 6th grade. She's now in the 8th grade, and she has been under my leadership as a coach since she's been in middle school. And so this is her 8th grade year. She's graduating, and just to see her grow and make it through the obstacles that she's made it through, to see her continue to try. She has developed all around. She's developed academically. She's developed socially. Her attitude has definitely gotten in check, because we all know when we are young, and if we're a little feisty, we need somebody to help us out with our attitude. We need somebody to help guide that advocacy energy that we have that we need someone. And so my full circle moment has definitely been with her, seeing her thrive, seeing her grow, and continuing to push. Her mom at our last game, her mom said, "What are we gonna do without you when she goes to high school?" And I was like, "Don't worry about it. I'll be everywhere she is." So that was my full circle moment.
I love how you said, don't worry about it. I'll be everywhere she is. I think as teachers, as former students, and as students of life, we always have like those teachers and those teachable moments that we always remember. And you following a student would now make you a memorable teacher. And I'm sure she's not the first, but how does it feel to build or explain to the audience, like, how you as an educator build those relationships that stand in and out of the classroom?
Oh my gosh, relationships are key. That is my number one thing. That is the utmost importance in education. So I was a classroom teacher, and I still feel like I'm a classroom teacher. Now I'm an instructional coach, so I coach teachers, but I still interact with students. And the first thing that I always tell teachers is, you have to build a relationship with your students. Students will not learn from you. They do not learn from anyone that they do not like. And most importantly, anyone that they do not think cares about them. If a student can tell whether or not a teacher genuinely cares about them and their success. And so I always focus on building relationships. I think that the most important piece of my relationship forming is that I still hold them accountable. I still hold them to the same high standards. I don't give them passes. I don't let them slide. When I give them tough love, they're like, "All right, Miss Pratt, like, okay,
And you know what? I see that in my classroom every day as well. And it always reminds me of like my teachers that I had, whom I respected the most. Those who
yep,
like checked me in a way that my mom wouldn't. Not to say, oh, now don't get it twisted. Because Sonya gonna check every box.
go check, okay,
You better sit down.
right, right,
Behaviorally, there
right.
were times where like I'm a girl, my mom's a girl, we don't see eye. I'm a mother of daughters. Sometimes me and my daughters don't see eye to eye, but I always had those teachers who held me accountable. And I said this in a recording of last week, but I'll say it here. The math really never adds up without you in the equation. And so it's like, what was I saying and doing that garnered the response that I was getting from my mom and my teachers? Or what my teachers see such potential in me that I have probably exceeded their expectations, but they probably didn't know. You know how I was back in the day, Paris?
But
Came a long way. But like when you say, Rita Pearson, when you say kids don't learn from teachers they don't like, what advice would you give a new teacher who wants to be in the field but may struggle trying to be the cool teacher and not the firm teacher. That is cool, but you know she don't play.
There is, and that's me. I'm cool, but they know I don't play. And I can walk into a classroom and the student, they go, Miss Pratt. They perk up, they straighten up. And I'm not the administrator. I'm not the principal, but I have built that relationship with them to where they know that I have high expectations for them and I'm not settling for less. And they rise to that. When you set that high expectations, students always rise to that. Now, yes, I'm the cool teacher. I like to wear cool educator tees. For example, this one, playing with your education is like playing with my emotions. And I like to wear sneakers. I'm a shoe fanatic. And so I do connect with the students on that level. Even when I'm in my strictly business attire, I connect with students by simply asking them how they are doing. I connect with students by asking them, what did you eat for breakfast today? You need a snack? I can help you with that. Or just a simple hey and a hug. I mean, that is the easiest, most valuable thing that you can do for a student is to say hello to them, greet them, hug them, or give them the love that they need. And it doesn't cost me a thing. And I've already built that relationship with that student, even though I don't know that baby's name. Good morning, baby. How you doing? Hey, pretty. How are you today? I love your outfit. Thank you so much for being here today. Those small things go a long way. And so I would say to the new teacher, start there. Start with hello. Start with I see you. I value you. And then build from there. Go ahead and ask, try to learn more about the student, because the more you know about the student, the more you're going to be able to reach them and teach them. You may not have anything in common with the student, but if you intentionally get to know that student and you intentionally say, hey, I know this student is in love with football, but can't read, I'm going to find something related to football so that I can get this student engaged, because I know that they talked my head off about football yesterday. And so those intentional moves are what, drive relationships with students. And so I would tell a new teacher, hey, you want to be cool. Students love consistency. If you are not consistent, they will call you out for it. Can you still your audio? They will call you out for it. Oh, okay, sorry. They will call you out for it. And there is no shame in their game calling you out for it. They hold you to consistency and they want the same thing in return. Whether or not they know it, they may not be able to articulate that just yet, but trust me, they want that consistency. So to a new teacher out there who is wanting to be the cool teacher and the firm teacher, just be consistent, hold everybody to high expectations, and make sure that you find a way to connect with them.
I love that. And girl, I was on mute. But the reason that I was on mute is because I like to have live reactions and I didn't want it to cut you off. I wanted them to hear you. But I was getting it. But no, I love how you said like just being intentional in relationship building. And that also translates to being intentional in your instruction. Like you said, if this child likes football and we got to do a reading information text or even a nonfiction text, let me find something that is relevant to like a student's interest. And I think that is so important. For me as an educator, I my journey is a lot like yours. Y'all, we used to work together if y'all don't know. But like, you know how it was at Harrison. Like, we had those kids who really just took to us. And it was a thing where like back straight, I'm quiet. I ain't talking back because I know Miss Jones care. I know Miss Pratt care. If I'm hungry, I know Miss Jones got snacks in the cut. If I need something, I know Miss Jones got the care packages in the drawer. Same with you, Pratt. Like I know that. And I think what has made us so successful over the last, this is year 8 for me. So it's got to be year 8 for you. So we in there. We up there.
Counting. Who's
We up
counting?
there.
Who's counting?
But in this time, though, I believe that what has drawn me back to this field as many times as I've tried to leave it is that I know a huge part of my purpose is pouring into young Tierra, right? And young Tierra had teachers like the teacher that I am. I am definitely the cool yet firm teacher. We gonna laugh in a day, but when I cock that eyebrow up and I put the cheeks down,
You better know,
I need
business.
that
Get the life
pencil out.
together.
It's to the point, girl. I give cues, ma'am,
Okay.
sir, and especially with our black boys. You know, our black boys in school, they're gonna be drama, and we know they're gonna excel when we put that battery in their back. But our black boys are missing such examples because they are lacking fathers and parents. We got to be honest. A lot of mothers are not present to our students, right? So, how do you handle the student who does not have the parental support and needs that extra push?
I actually, it's so funny that you said that. I've been texting a mom all day today who she gives as much support as you can dream of for a parent. And the student just is not really seeing the value of what their parent is giving them. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. My mama is telling me this. I don't want to hear it from her. But if somebody else that I think is cool, that I respect, not saying that I don't respect my mama, but if somebody else is telling me this, yeah, I'm going to say, all right, you know what? Maybe I do need to change a little bit. Maybe I do need to stop being a little messy and focus on my assignment because I didn't know what to do when it came time to do it. And then I have another student who I just can't reach the parent as often as I would like to, but that does not mean that I negate the fact that they have a parent. I try to involve the parent as much as I can, invite them out, have conversations, frequent conversations with the parent. And that parent very well may give me the permission to be mama at school, as many of them do. And I'm like, I know that you gave me this beautiful responsibility, but I still want to involve you and I want them to know that you're involved because we're a team. So it's really about building those relationships and those family ties, making sure that everybody is working together for that student, because when that student leaves our school, our space, and our realm of control, they still have to go home.
Go
And
home.
sometimes those things aren't reinforced at home.
Mm-mm.
But if the parent can get a little bit of guidance or a little bit of PD from us to reinforce those things at home, it definitely helps the child. And so my approach to those who are, I'm not going to say missing, but lacking in one area is just a little bit of extra love,
Right.
a little bit of extra attention and care, going the extra mile saying, let's go ahead and call mom, let's go ahead and call dad, just so that we're all on the same
On the
page.
same page. Yep.
Not going to leave them out, you know, but we all want to communicate and make sure that whatever the parent may need something. And I have definitely advocated for parents when they did not know how. There are a lot of parents who
That
do
just
not know
don't
how
know
to
how.
advocate for their child. And that really is my passion. That is my whole thing. So I love advocating for children and families. I love giving parents that power to go and say, hey, my child needs X, Y, and Z. I love when I can teach a student to advocate for themselves as well. So that's my approach to that.
I like how you said involve the parent and like just keep the communication frequent. A lot of times teachers like to only call when the child is misbehaving, but those good phone calls are super important. They are more important than you know, because a lot of the reason why parents don't want to engage those who don't, not only because of resources. Some of them don't want to engage because you only call them to say negative stuff about their child, and that's not what they want to hear. And so my advice to a new teacher would be, when you call parents, always try to highlight the good things, even if it is a negative call. Sandwich it. hey, Johnny had a wonderful day today so far. However, we could work on some behavior in math class as Johnny was a little off task. That's not his usual behavior, but with your support, I think we can work to get Johnny back on track. Is there any way that you could just chat with him and let him know that Miss Jones is here to support him in anything that he needs in math class? Takes a whole different tone
It
to a
does.
parent. Then, girl, Miss John, and I could not get him to do anything, and I just don't even know what to do with your kid. So, like, and believe it or not, Paris, you know this, but believe it or not, teachers make those type of comments
They do. They do.
just like that.
They do. They do.
Parents from wanting to create a positive working relationship, because as you stated, sometimes the parents simply just they don't have the resources, they're not aware, so we do need to provide them with the extra support and PD as we call it, just so that they can learn how to be, because parents are students too, so that they can
Right.
learn how to be a student of their parental guidance to their students,
Right.
right?
Because education is changing for sure.
Oh,
And
drastically.
it's not the same even when you and I were in school. It is not the same. It simply is not the same. And so for sure,
First started teaching.
it's not the same when we first started teaching. Oh my gosh, so much has changed.
So excited. I want to ask you about, like, how do you balance doing all the things that you do while being a mom to two brown girls? And what advice would you give your brown girls, or do you give to your brown girls that you wish somebody would have given to young Paris?
Mm. Well, balance for me, um, if I'm not busy doing work that impacts somebody else, personally, I don't know what to do with myself. I mean, I cannot function unless I'm doing something. And most of the time, my doing something is for somebody else. And so I used to look at that as a negative. A lot of other people who see me and see what I do, they say, hey, you need to slow down. Hey, you need to stop doing you need to do for yourself. Take time for yourself. But then I look back and I think and I sit and I reflect and I'm like, no, this is what fulfills me, helping somebody else, making sure that they get what they need. That is how I get what I need. And so my balance right now in this busy season, because I am still studying. We are continuous learners over here. We are bachelor's, master's degrees in, but we are always aspiring to do more and be more. And so studying and managing my two daughter schedules. I do have a child who has several things going on with her life. We're talking about medical conditions. We're talking about mental health. We're talking about academics. I have two daughters who are very busy outside of school. And so my balance is I need a schedule. Making sure that I look at my schedule and I'm like, okay, we have this at this time, we have this at this time, even at work, it's a schedule. And I try to stick to that schedule as much as possible. Now, if it's not doable, I just say, hey, it just really does not fit into my schedule this week. Um, I'm sorry. And I'm okay with saying, I can't do it right now, but I can do it at this time. And that's how I've been able to still say, I am helping somebody else. I'm still fulfilling my need, which is to fulfill their need, but I'm being strategic about it and I'm making sure that I can give 100% of myself to my kids, to my work life, to my study life, to my personal life, my social life. I keep a really, really tight schedule these days. Um, as far as what I would tell the little brown girl, little brown Paris, I would just say the same thing that my grandmother told me, and it did take quite some time for me to get this information. I think I was probably 19 by the time this really stuck with me. I said, Ma, I'm a chemistry major and I love chemistry. I love engineering. I love technology. But I don't think this is really what I want to do. I now have a different passion. And my passion is to become an advocate for children and families who have disabilities. And so my grandma said, well, what's wrong? Why won't you just go ahead and switch your major? I was like, I don't want people to judge me. I don't want people to think that what I'm doing is not important. She said, are those people doing the work that you want to do? Are they going to do it for you? And so if they're not doing it for you, if you're doing what you have to do and what you need to do it. And so that is what I would say. Hold on. What I would say to the little brown girl, little brown Paris is, ain't nobody gonna do it for you, baby. Whatever you want to do, go do it. Okay? If that's your passion, that's your drive, don't look for nobody else's assurance, reassurance. Don't look for their approval. Just get out here and do it. And so that was the day that I decided that I was going to major in social work and become an advocate for all children and families.
I love how every interview that I've done with the Brown girls, there has been a gem that has spilled over from one interview into another. And it's like, I don't know if God is just like putting it in the atmosphere, but I was on an interview earlier and the girl said, I would tell myself not to worry about nothing that anybody says and just do it. And you just said the girl said, I would tell myself to keep going. And the other girl was like, I would tell myself to keep going because you might be last now, but you're going to be first. And it's just like, I love to hear how like all the conversations are intersecting. And as people listen to these, which I hope they will, get on YouTube and listen because, you know, this is what we do.
I will.
But it is definitely something to like just hear in each conversation is what I think. And I'm super excited more than anything because this, just like you said about like not worrying about what people think, that's how I feel about the brunch. The brunch started at my house as a memory, like out of memory of my brother. So I never saw it like, I saw it as something and I saw it becoming something, but I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just know that it was at my house. I was like, listen, my brother passed. I don't want to die full of all the things that I want to do. So I'm just going to empty the clip. And I started the brunch by revealing my hair studio. I saved up thousands of dollars. I'm talking like, girl, I saved up about $10,000 just hustling, bustling, working in Durham and hair on the side until I could save up enough for my equipment. And I moved, got that tax money too. I moved and just allowed me to be in position to like get everything I needed. And I remember at that first brunch telling everybody, whatever it is you want to do, just do it. Don't matter if you don't got the money, if you don't got the plan, if you don't got the support, just do it. And I'm so glad that I listened to my own words because the brunch was like 30 people the first year and like 30 people the second year. And then last year it was like 80 people. And I was like, oh, oh,
You got you can do greater.
God put it on my heart like you need to if this brunch is the brown girls brunch, don't just include your brown girl students. Open this up to brown girls who are in a plethora of fields. And so I went to bed. I did a survey for last year's brunch. I took everybody feedback. Oh girl, because we was in a venue and it was packed and it was hot as hell. So everybody, it was a great event, but it was hot. And was like, okay. But Paris, I took all that feedback and I was like, you know what? I'm going to execute the fuck, excuse my French, out of this brunch this year
Yes.
because I want people to know what this brunch is about. It is about building relationships. It is about networking. It is about goal setting. It is about redefining what it means to be a woman or a lady of significance. Like that is what Brown Girls stands for. And when I think about that, my goal is to only create networks. I no longer use the word friendships. I don't use that word. I have friends that I know are my friends. I want to create networks because I realize that there is a need for various types of networks in your
Yep.
life. And that is the significance of this brunch is to expand my networks and the networks of those who I want to network with, you
Right.
know. And so I didn't know what the response was going to be, but like everybody was just like, yes, I love this, I would love, or some people was like, I never heard of this, but I would love to do it. It's like, I'm glad you never heard of it because everybody's gonna know what it is this year.
Yep.
Trust me on
Absolutely.
that. What are you, Paris, most excited about attending the Brown Girl? Oh, before I ask that question, can you briefly touch, don't you do a scholarship?
I was literally getting ready to say, hey, we have another thing in common. We both lost someone. And so my scholarship is definitely um based, or it was birthed out of someone that we lost
Mhm.
very close to us. And I just need 1 second, like.
Take that second, girl. I understand. I got it. While Paris is away, guys, I will share the same. Like my scholarship started in memory of my brother. This year the brunch does not really incorporate our high school students as it did last year. However, we are absolutely still raising scholarship funds through ticket sales. So please be sure to get your tickets to the Brown Girls Brunch. And we're gonna wait on Paris to come back to answer one more question.
That was a beautiful commercial break.
Girl, you know I gotta give it up for the people. Yeah, we are still gonna
Give it
donate
up.
to a scholarship. Well, raising our scholarship funds. That's also the purpose of like why we sell tickets for the brunch. And so that is still something that is in my mind. But with me being in DC, teaching the same demographic, I have really been trying to just pray on what to do, and I'm sure about what I'm going to end up doing. But what I would like to know is, what are you most excited about attending the Brown Girls Brunch?
Yeah, so I'm even more excited now. At first, it was like, oh, I know Tiara. This is something that she's doing. I'm going to support her. I have watched Tiara grow over the course of the past few years. I know your true passions. I know your heart. I know that you are doing this because a seed was dropped in you and you are just doing what you're supposed to do and nourishing it and letting it grow and develop into what it's going to be. I definitely know that we have something in common with losing someone and using that to fuel our passion and to allow us to spread awareness and impact others, turning that pain into promise. And so, as we were talking about before, yes, I lost my uncle who was like my brother, very close to me. And I did start a scholarship. It's called the Larry Wayne Pratt Scholarship. And so I have done this scholarship for a few years now, maybe like this will be the 6th year. And it is a small token. And at first I was worried about what would people think if the amount is not $25,000. But the first two recipients, I mean, the way that I was able to impact them, just giving them something that helped them to get through, or to get something for college, that was so fulfilling to me. I usually don't do a lot of fundraising. A lot of it is just me coming up out of the kindness of my heart or my family,
Mm-hmm.
um, just giving to the cause. And my criteria for that scholarship is not one that is just like the others. It's,
Mm-hmm.
hey, what have you gone
Same.
through? What have you persevered through? I
Mm-hmm.
just want you to share through whatever medium it is that you feel led to do, whether that's
Mm-hmm.
art, music, writing, dance, video, whatever it is. Share a time that you persevered through a hard time in school and still managed to make it through. Larry was a person who always believed in helping other people. He definitely was a servant to others. And so I just wanted to continue to highlight that. And so I'm excited to attend this brunch, knowing that I'm networking, linking with somebody who has the same goals, who is just as driven as I have been. I'm excited to get to meet other people, other brown girls who are like that. I am so proud that you have created this platform for people and for other brown girls. I am just beyond excited to see what we have at the Brown Girls Brunch, what we get into, how we network, and then where this goes in the future. I know it's going to be great. I've seen it already. It's written. Just go do it.
Thank you so much, Paris.